Well, and this afternoon, we know that the Dome Kwabenya MP, Adowa Safo, is the hottest personality as it is emerging. She's frustrating government's effort at passing the controversial electronic transactions levy. Government introduced the proposal in the 2022 budget when the finance minister presented the budget statement in November. The impression then was that it was urgent so government can deal with a shortfall in revenue and rising government expenditure. We are heading for the 4th month and this is yet to see the light of day. The issues accounting for this has mainly been the sharp division between the majority and minority sides of the House, with the NDC and NPP tied on equal numbers. An independent MP who has decided to join the NPP side should have made things easier, but that's far from the case. We understand that some NPP MPs, including his former spouse, Ken Japan, have publicly waged war against Adowa Safo after refusing to turn up for Parliament. We'll hear from him and other persons close to this action shortly. First, though, our findings when we visited her constituency recently is up. Just watch all of this unfold.
The absence of the MP has raised concerns among the rank and file of the party. Poster and editor of the Daily Dispatch newspaper, Ben Efson, has called for her dismissal if it emerges she did not follow due process. Asin Central MP Kennedy Japan has accused her of holding the party to ransom. But in the Dome Kwabenya constituency, secretary of the party, Theophilus Ansalabi, tells Joy News her absence is indeed affecting the constituency. Here's how.
You met me in the office this morning working. That is what I'm supposed to do. So I was voted into power and she was also voted. So if you have been voted, you do what is expected of you. So if you're supposed to go to Parliament and represent your people and also visit your constituents and do what is expected of you and you don't do, definitely it will affect them. What we're saying is that we have common, even a typical one is that we have common funds for the constituency, that's the MP's common fund, that deprived people probably have the opportunity to access it. So without you, how do they access it? If it has to be with health issue, without you, how do people deal with it? Because nobody can access your common fund except you. So if you are not there, that means those who the funds are meant for cannot access it. So in effect, probably it's affecting people in the constituency, isn't it?
He adds that the issue has been tabled before the Council of Elders of the party in the constituency after several failed attempts to reach the MP.
As far as I'm concerned, it is difficult getting to her. As far as I am concerned, okay, so I'm speaking for myself, it is difficult for me to reach her as an MP.
How about the executive body? Officially?
We have had consent and we've met with the Council of Elders, Patrons and Disciplinary Committee on this same issue, and the key person we have been reaching the MP through is the constituency chairman. We have tasked him severally to get in touch of the MP and get back to us, but getting back to us, he also said he wasn't able to.
The constituents have been speaking. They are sharply divided over her absence and the calls for her dismissal.
That's a habit.
What do you make of that?
In fact, it's very, very sad. Part of Adowa. But unfortunately, we are not seeing her, which, of course, all of us are very worried.
Well,
he cannot tell us emphatically if she should be sacked or not, but he believes that whatever action that must be taken, if indeed she's not attending Parliament deliberately, then that action must be taken. However, he as a constituent is affected by the absence of the MP because she's the one who must represent them, must table their issues before government in order to get the solution that they need, and so her absence definitely affects him. Let me speak to another driver. We are the taxi rank here at Dome. Wafa, what are you saying?
And some fantasy if you see Nipa and a bonnet. What in case you will be so and keep a pam say Nipanana. NPP say nipa na ebony, nti nipa ebony a ye de che.
Okay, say raise issues wa ha mentias because issues in the enye hanko na raise the whole nation. Oh. Yeah, bisa. Yeah, bisa. Young baby, nobody know where she is.
Yeah, mommy, it's no way say Bibia Parliament say pass him rebi Adowa Safo de ho. Beto say do kan nya lokre. Ile party obia kotim kwaji na home. Wona bia woni ni say me hu no, me ne kasa.
Who Adowa Safo?
Me last year me hu no, December year me hu no. January year me hu no. Me January me hu no.
Say how or whatever.
Say me to kasa ile party o nyina nko ba bia. O Ghana ha. Ile party we to kasa bia.
Okay. Now, he believes that the absence of the Member of Parliament is very worrying, not just at the constituency level, but also at the national level. And in fact, the constituents are very much worried. He says if you just speak to a random person, they will tell you that as for the Member of Parliament, she only appears when there's an election coming up. And so they are very much worried about her absence or her absence, especially in Parliament. But he thinks otherwise. He says he's seen the Member of Parliament constantly, even this year. They've had several engagements with her, and he believes it's the internal party politics here at Dome Kwabenya that's at play, which is giving a very bad impression of the Member of Parliament. So we move to the house of the MP to find out where exactly she is. The personal assistant who met her said Adowa Safo is out of the jurisdiction for personal reasons.
She's a third-term Member of Parliament. There hasn't been any time where she has stayed away for so long. So once this is happening, we should, try and understand that there's something very germane that is keeping her away, and not because she's intentionally doing it or because she has some scores to settle with anybody. Even in her absence, there's still work being done in the constituency. There are several developmental projects ongoing in the constituency, from roads to schools, several development going on. So I will find it very difficult if anybody says that her absence in any way is dragging or is pulling back the development that we should benefit from, in the constituency. I find that very difficult to understand.
He, however, accuses some persons within the party of capitalizing on her absence to create disaffection for her.
And also, the secretary, he's not somebody who we would expect. I personally will expect. Will say something positive about the Member of Parliament because of the relationship. Yes, he's the secretary of the constituency and also a perpetual opponent of the Member of Parliament. So I don't expect him to say.
Perpetual opponent?
Yes, he's always been an opponent of the Member of Parliament. At no point in time has he supported the Member of Parliament, and it's been like that, and we've worked with it until now.
So when will Adowa Safo be back in town?
Well, as far as in speaking to the E-Levy, it's something that Honorable supports, and when she comes to town, she'll definitely be in Parliament to support him passing the E-Levy next week. All things being equal.
Adowa Safo will be in town.
Yeah.
And she will participate in the
surely.
votes. Ernest Minu for Joy News.
Well, we do know that Adowa Safo is also the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, but is currently on extended leave as she takes care of what the presidency says is a personal matter. But her absence is creating some sort of discomfort within the New Patriotic Party. Ken Ejapon has been speaking on this on SSA Radio.
And NPP people should listen carefully. Adowa Safo, they hired a private jet to bring the woman here. And when she came, she refused to come to Parliament.
So who was in Parliament casting the vote that day?
Hold on.
Okay.
She refused to come to Parliament. Chief of Staff, after buying the ticket and flying her in, had to take a motorcade to Adowa's house. She stood behind her gate for 30 minutes. What kind of rudeness is that? Before she opened, Chief of Staff was made to sit at her living room for 35 minutes. When she came, Babin was tired. She is sick. He's sick. He can't wait. If you can't get your numbers, so be it. And we couldn't vote. Going back, she was demanding another private jet. Excuse me. Dr. Mwakuba, I'm sorry. Please. You don't know what has transpired. Look, about 3 weeks ago, we went to Rock something. Rock City. They put pressure on me to call Adowa Safo. I placed the call through my daughter 13 times. She refused to talk to me. She refused.
Well, Zanat Kennedy Ejapong, they're trying to break down the demands that the Dome Kwabenya MP has been making. We understand as well that she's been putting some fresh claims before the executive to tackle as conditions precedent before she returns actually to the country in support of the e-levy. There's a need for us to expand this conversation. Shortly, we'll be joined by Nana Obribwai, who's General Secretary for the New Patriotic Party, but Professor Mwakuba as well is joining us. He's a political scientist who has been sharing his thoughts on this matter. The secretary as well for that very constituency, Theophilus Ansah, is also on with us. He, of course, would know the very latest on that. So, Theophilus, welcome to the polls. First of all, let me find out from you. Do we know about the presence or otherwise of Sarah Adowa Safo in this country? What's the official report you're receiving, obviously, as one of the executives in the constituency? We'll reconnect shortly to Theophilus to give us the very update, but Professor Mwakuba is here with us. So, Prof, you had Kennedy Ejapong call you out there. He says that you're not very much vexed in the matters. You don't have an understanding of what exactly is happening, and perhaps that's why you are declaring your support for Sarah Adowa Safo. But listening to all that has transpired so far, what do you think the NPP should be doing about her case? Prof, you'd have to unmute for us so we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. I'm not declaring any support for Adowa Safo. I don't support everything that she has done. My point is this: decency must prevail at all times. Adowa Safo became a hero during the election time. You remember when she declared that the numbers at the police station were not accurate. What was happening? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you, Prof. You were making a point about giving clarity.
Okay, what was happening that the presidential numbers were being reduced, and it was she who brought it out. She was a hero. I served with Adowa Safo on the manifesto committee. Myself, Adowa Safo, Atachia, Jimamenu, and 2 others. Right? I know her a little bit. I don't support everything she does. She cannot hold her own government and party to ransom. But the point is this: she was first unfairly treated, and nobody came to her defense. If she's a substantive minister and somebody under her is given authority that seems to place her under that person, how do you expect her to operate as a minister from there?
I'm sorry, but you would have to clarify this. You would have to clarify this for us.
Who is supposed to be told what to do?
I understand that, but when you say the party has not treated Adowa Safo fairly, in what particular terms? Because this is someone who served as deputy majority leader. She's now been given a position as Minister of State. So that's also a fair position, isn't it?
Minister has fired. No, you don't do that. You call the minister, find a way, and let her do it. All right? Talk it over. Even the president himself can mediate between the two. That didn't happen. So what is she doing now? Is she a minister now or just a messenger in the ministry? That is the problem. So we don't really have credibility to behave as if we treated her well. That is part of the problem. Having said that, please, I know I wouldn't have all the information about what has been going on behind the scenes. By listening to Kennedy Ejapong, I know he's tried very hard to get Adowa Safo to come back, and it has not worked. So I know, but some of the things he's saying, these are personal issues that should not be brought into the public domain. You're calling her a failure in life, her father doesn't own the parliament. That is not appropriate. This is also a woman who has 2 children with you. And if anybody is going to be charged to remove her, it shouldn't be you. The best you can do is to be quiet. Let somebody else do it. That is what decency is. And so now, what are we going to do? Some are saying, let's trigger the process of removing her. Okay, go ahead. This is what we do all the time. Instead of, please, treat the person properly, and when the time comes, you use that as a chip. You go and trigger this. What is the guarantee that NPP will win that seat? What is the guarantee? If they don't know, I'm telling them now. NPP is not as popular as before. Even 1 year ago, we are not as popular as 1 year ago. Come to Kumasi and see. Go on to look at the party offices. They are throwing furniture out. People are very upset. Someone declared that they will fight with flesh and blood. You hear that? They will fight with their brother. This has happened before. 4 years ago, they've seen it. A year ago, they've seen it. So now, they are not going to sit idly by and be taken advantage of again.
But, Prof, it appears that you're simplifying matters. From the accounts that Kennedy Ejapon is giving us this afternoon, we understand that an olive branch was extended to the said MP. She's making demands now, including her demands to become deputy majority leader. That's quite unfair at such a critical time when government needs that single vote from Sarah Adowa Safo in passing the e-levy.
I agree. But if we have diplomats in our ranks, if we have mediators in our rank, that is her demand. Doesn't mean she gets it. But bring her down. Find a way, okay, Adowa, come, let's talk about it. Then she may not get that one, but may accept something else. That is how you proceed. Now you dug a trench for yourself, you are not moving, and then you say, let's remove him. Okay, I say, well, warning, go ahead and see what happens. If NDC wins, what are you going to do now? And that is a very big possibility. We don't look far, you see.
Right.
When we are in opposition, we are very different. Since we won, it's almost as if it's not this party that I mean. They don't listen to anyone. Some people do what they want, as if their party belongs to them. The officials don't listen to anyone. They are not proactive. They wait until things have taken them by surprise. All of it. It's not a good situation at all.
But Prof, fortunately, you're a political scientist as well, so you understand the dynamics of this. What should be the best strategy for the governing New Patriotic Party to adopt now, particularly when we know we have a hanged parliament? The numbers are critical at this point. Do we declare the seat of the MP vacant, or what exactly will be that best strategy going into this deadlock?
I think it's too soon to do that. They should come again. Try one more time. Find someone to talk to her. I'm sure she will listen to someone if you go to the right channels. Look, if I was treated unfairly, nobody defended me. Now I'm making demand. You say what? You got your Kennedy Ejapon, he got his contracts, fine. All of us, if people got contracts like that, they will be very patriotic. And so please, we should look at these things. He is not the only one who's worked hard for the party. We all did. But what I'm saying is decency must prevail at all times. You can't treat a substantive minister that way and expect her to be an effective minister. What is she going to do now? It is not good. That is a gross mistreatment. And that is the issue. So now, find someone. Appeal to people outside the mainframe and get someone to talk to her and see what happens. Now, if you can't give up this time. You can't give up at this time.
The perception out there is that the perception out there is that the MP, the perception out there is that the MP is being urged onto impunity, if we could call it that way. The concern is that there are so many other MPs out there who do not even have executive appointments from the president, and yet they've been very much devoted, very much committed to the process of ensuring that critical government bills and proposals are adopted in Parliament. How about someone who has a position, who has vacated her position for close to a year, and yet there's been a caretaker minister working in her stead? Is that good? I mean, painting a good picture about issues of governance and the NPP?
Well, I agree with that, no doubt at all. She hasn't done right. But the point is, we need her. We need her. You see, so if you need someone, you don't start with throwing punches. Some things we should say in back rooms. In private, we are saying in public. It's not good. How can you convince someone to do something when you start insulting her already? How can you do that? If Adowa Safo is a failure in life, who in Ghana is a success?
But Prof, I'm sorry for cutting him. I'm sorry for cutting him. But after all, what's the fear anyway for the New Patriotic Party? The concern is that, and we've heard that from Kennedy Ejapon, he says that after all, if you lose the elections, It's not a new deal because you've already lost the e-levy debate in Parliament. So declare the seats vacant and that's the end of it. How about that?
How are they going to vote? Is it going to be 137 to 137 purely now? How is it going to work? It's 138 to 137 now. It's still not working. Now, if you come down to from 138 to 137, how is that helping you? That's the problem. We are looking at numbers, purely numbers. How is -1 helping MPP? How? So try one more time. Find out that means. Get people to talk to her. If you do all of that, okay, I'm sure they've done some of that. Kennedy Tepon has done some of that, and I assume that is why she's very upset, right? Because it was a former husband, and she did not agree.
Okay.
Maybe they even had not exchange of words.
Right.
But be that it may, you have to continue.
And Prof, this conversation will go on for a while. Just hold the lines for us briefly. Obviously, there are so many concerns greeting this. The General Secretary of the party, Theophilus Ansah, is also on with us. He may actually have some updates on what's happening within the constituency itself. There's a group also calling itself the Alliance for Foot Soldiers Advocacy. They are a pro-party group asking that immediate measures be taken to address the situation. Opeimu Woyome speaks for the group. He's also joining us via Zoom right now. Thank you, sir, for joining us. What's the demand really of the Alliance for Foot Soldiers Advocacy? What's your demand really? You would have to unmute for us because we're having challenges hearing you.
Hello, can you please hear me?
Yes, so that's better now.
All right, thank you. So what we are saying, our point basically is that government business must go on regardless of the issues being raised by the Member of Parliament for Dome Kwabenya, regardless of concerns being raised by Kennedy Japan, by leadership of Parliament, or by any group whatsoever. What we are saying is that government business must still go on. You see, Ghana's economy, my brother, has suffered a great setback due to the COVID-19 and its associated negative impact on our socioeconomic life as a people, okay, globally. And this is a time that government, the federal government, has thought it wise to implement a homegrown policy this time around as an alternative to going for loans or bailouts, which is usually characterized by a lot of draconian conditions.
Would have to get back to Opeimu Woyome. Certainly, he has some more concerns to unveil for us.
That a member of Parliament.
Right. But
hello, can you hear me now?
yes, we're having a challenge there. But so your demand is that she needs to go. But Professor Amwakuba is indicating that clearly it appears that you're not treating the lady fairly. This is a member of Parliament, also a Minister of State. Why not be patient as a political party?
No, I wouldn't agree with what Dr. Amwakuba is saying. I think both parties, there should be room for dialogue. I think dialogue is the only way. Whatever she is looking for, whatever the party or government is looking for, I think our stand is that government business must still go on regardless of whatever her demands or any party's interest is.
Are you then calling? Are you then, for instance, calling for a fresh elections for her seat to be declared vacant, and then we have a fresh elections? Is that what you're demanding?
We wouldn't readily call for that unless the dialogue fails. Unless the dialogue fails, and it wouldn't be in our place to call for that. It would depend on the party's national party and the leadership of Parliament to determine that. But our interest is, as we keep saying, is that whatever stance they take, all parties must know that government business must still go on.
I get the point there.
The nature of the 8th Parliament, okay? Because of the 137, we need every single member on board.
And that's a very crucial point you're raising there. Fortunately, the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party himself, Danaobri Boahen, is joining us now to provide us with some context on this matter. In fact, this matter is also unfolding in Parliament because we know that she's lost that opportunity of meeting the deadline of 15 days, 15 official working days, which is missed without official permission in Parliament. We'll check out all of those details for you, but Nana Obribwai is also a leading member of the NPP. Perhaps he has some more insights into this. Nana, welcome to the program. First of all, how is it that the whole governing political party, the NPP, is unable to call one of its members of parliament, to order. The concern down there, and we've heard from the Alliance for Foot Soldiers, they are asking you to ensure that governance goes on. What's the sense really of the
Alliance
NPP
of
this?
Foot Soldiers.
Precisely. That's a concern group.
They are saying that the leadership of the party should do what?
Ensure that government business goes on. That's the concern from the grassroots of your party. How are you dealing with that, really?
No, but how can the party ensure that the NPP's government goes on with their activities? Is it a political party? You have members of parliament who are in that august body and supposed to help assist the executive and the judiciary. Then you have the party structure. So if for one reason or the other, a parliamentarian is absent, it doesn't lie in the mouth of the party leadership, maybe to bring that fellow to book. The proper thing to do.
And I'm sorry, Nana, I would have to cut you at this point. How, cogent is that justification you're giving us now? This is the governing party. You have promised to deliver a set of goals and promises to the people of Ghana. Indeed, one of your own appointees of state who's not been to her office for quite some time now is still not returning to the country, and yet you are not concerned about this as the New Patriotic Party. What's your stance on this as a political party?
With due respect, with all humility, we are not in a jungle. We are Democrats. You have the three organs of government: the lawmaking, the law implementation, the law adjudication. You look at the Supreme Court decision in Judgment versus the Attorney General 1997-98. When members of parliament are in that August House conducting the activities as members of parliament, neither the executive nor the judiciary can crack the ship. So if, for instance, a member of parliament is absent for 20, 30 days, it is the speaker who will declare that position as vacant. Anything short of that, those of us who are not within that August House, we can be running commentary left, right, and center. But legally, that should not be the position.
Nana, let's face the facts. This is a member of your party.
Hold on.
This is a member of your political party. You exercise some level of control over her. She belongs to the MPs caucus in Parliament as well, and then also a member of the NPP. Why are you not taking actions as a political party? You could suspend her, for instance, as a member of the NPP.
With due respect, we are mature adults. To all intents and purposes, the party leadership can exercise control, guide the ship, when members of the party in parliament, the majority leader, deputy majority leader, majority chiefship, they have officially reduced it into writing and then send it to the leadership of the party. That is how things are done.
Nana, I'm sorry, I'd have to bring back some issues that happened in the past. For instance, when some MPs decided in the run-up to the 2020 elections that they were going to go independent, you suspended them from the party. Here's someone who's not adhering to the rules. The concern from within the party and a general consensus is that her conduct is affecting the governance process. Why are you not taking an action against that?
We don't, in any democratic society, we don't behave like that. If you think that somebody has erred and that person must be brought to book, you have the disciplinary committee of the party. Yes, the political parties don't behave you don't thrive in a vacuum. You have a disciplinary committee of the party, National Disciplinary Committee. The individual will lodge a complaint talking about expulsion. It is captured in the NPP constitution that if you decide to go as an independent candidate, automatically you are expelled. I don't know. I'm surprised. So if for one reason or the other, Mr. A or Mrs. B has not been going to Parliament for some time now, those of us who are members of the NEC or the National Council cannot, on our own volition, say that, oh, you have expelled you from the party.
Nana Obribwang, your presidential candidate who's president now, the president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is obviously concerned about this. We are learning today that, for instance, through Kennedy Ejapong, they've made several attempts to get to the said MP. These are critical concerns from the executive. The executive.
We are all worried. We are all worried.
So why are you not cracking the whip? Are you scared of Sarah Adowa Safo?
No. I am a lawyer by profession. We are all worried. But what do? You have to adopt the proper channel. You have to go by the rules of the game. There's no law in Ghana which says that the president can maybe out of his own volition one morning say that Mr. A or B or C or D don't go to parliament again. That may be wrong. The Speaker of Parliament cannot on his own declare that A or B or C, you don't have to come to parliament. That may be wrong. The Chief Justice cannot just wake up to say that A or B or C or D don't go to parliament. That is wrong. The rules are there. Much as we are all worried about it, we should apply the rules rigorously.
All right,
so
then.
it is not a question of somebody scared. We are all worried. And the rules must be applied. The foot soldiers you are talking about. I think that the proper thing to do is to file a complaint before the National Disciplinary Committee. Then the National Disciplinary Committee will sit on the matter.
Okay.
All of us are worried, but we should do the proper thing within the context that we find ourselves.
Are you not worried that the popularity of the NPP will be affected going into the next elections?
Look, let's be very honest and sincere. I am worried. That doesn't mean that we should throw the rules of the game away and then embark on a voyage of discovery. Is that what you are suggesting, my brother?
Well,
is that what you are suggesting?
You are a member of the NPP. In fact, you are in leadership.
That is why I'm saying that apart from being a member of the NPP, I'm a lawyer by profession. So we should apply the rules very well. We don't need to discriminate.
All right. Nana Obribwang is Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. In fact, let's find out what's happening in the constituency itself. Professor Mwakuma is also on with us, but Theophilus Ansah is joining us via Zoom as well. He's the constituency secretary, so perhaps he may have some information on the whereabouts of the MP. Theophilus, what more can you tell us about the absence or otherwise of Sarah Adowa Safo? Do we know her whereabouts? Well, we seem to have lost Theophilus there. But Professor Mwakuma, I'm sure that you've been listening to all of this. What's your reaction as we conclude on this situation?
To be honest, I'm disappointed because party administration is not purely based on rules or policies, constitution. Sometimes backdoor channels work better. The result is what we are looking at, not the processes. What is wrong with calling someone your colleague and talking to her? What is wrong with that? Call the dad and talk to her. Kennedy tried himself, I'm sure. And this is why he's very upset. It didn't work. Doesn't mean that's the end of it. You understand? But we are not trying hard enough. You can't give up on this. So what the Deputy General Secretary is saying, I don't think it's appropriate. It is not only rules that you use to run a party. As a matter of fact, if you do too much of that, the party will be ruined. We become mechanical. Sometimes all the person needs are kind words. When she was mistreated, nobody supported her. Nobody defended her. That's the issue. I suspect that is very, very, very much in her heart.
Right. And Prof, I'm just being curious at this point. You've indicated that, for instance, you've engaged Sarah Adowa Safo at the time you were drafting the manifesto for the NPP. So you seem to have some close relations, if I could say. Have you tried reaching out to her, perhaps out of concern, to find out where she is and why she's not returning?
No, I haven't, because I don't even know her number, and nobody has talked to me about anything. That is the problem. Things happen, and those in official position behave as if they only can do something. Sometimes you need people from outside. You see, they behave as if they know everything. They don't contact anyone. They do whatever. Now they want to put a bump in the whole thing. Okay, I say go ahead, but don't forget, the way the walls will fall on you. So I don't think that's the right alternative to consider now. Look, the speaker, I'm sure, Adowa Safo went for a childbirth. It's not out a reasonable issue to be away from Parliament. I don't know if you saw the speaker. It's possible that through informal channels is mentioning it to the speaker. So what are you going to do now? Is she the first person who's been upset this long? No. But she have a legitimate reason to be away. What I don't like is this. This is a serious issue. It's about the country, about your own country and your party. You shouldn't send videos to people dancing. That's all. That I would say. It is not. It appears as if you are not serious. You don't care what is happening. But we have to still try harder to reach her, let her come. I have no doubt. So go to the right channel, she will come. She's come before, right? And so some of these demands I've heard her making are not reasonable. But if she makes it, man, let her come. Okay, we have to talk it over. She doesn't accept this. She may accept something else. How do we know? This is how mediation works.
And Prof, what's interesting is that you are a very committed member of the NPP. You're committed to the ideals of the party, and yet you are alarmed that the popularity of the NPP is waning. Looking into that magic ball, what are you predicting for the party? Because this is happening at a time you're embarking on a reorganization process as the New Patriotic Party. The ward election, the branch election has started. What do you predict as the future of the NPP?
Well, the picture doesn't look, I can tell you that straight away. It doesn't look good. Look, today, I've got 2 videos, people throwing furniture out of party office because the people are upset. We can't get the form. Now they say the form is free because somebody has paid for it, yet the chairman is not there. In one instance, they said they went and arrested the constituency chairman, put him in the police station, whatever. It's not good. Just started, and this is what we're seeing. What's going to happen when it comes to regionals and national? So it's not good. Part of the problem is that I heard Nana Obigwa. I respect him a lot. But I have to tell him, you don't run an organization like a political party strictly with rules. You can't do that. Many of the people don't even understand the rules. They don't know the rules. So how are you going to use that? Talk to them. Can't we talk? Find the right people, talk to them. You can't do that. That is the problem. If you sit there and use just rules, this is what happens. They'll be fighting left and right. Sometimes all they need is kind words. That's all. That you listen to them, that you understand their concerns. That's it. And bring peace. But now, from what we saw last time when the Siama went independent, didn't the party talk to the Siama before he agreed to join?
Right. And Prof, we're very much grateful that you've been able to spend some time with us here on the Pulse on the Joy News channel. Thanks for staying with us. When we return, we'll talk about men's gold customs. They are back in the news. We'll tell you more about that shortly.